Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over Tesla, let's go over the market, and let's talk about what happened today. Pretty spicy day for the most part, I would say, and what we can expect moving into tomorrow. A pretty massive day tomorrow, and potentially rest of the week, which could be also pretty massive. Now, I want to make something very clear before we jump in. FOMC obviously is tomorrow. Obviously tomorrow we get the idea of if we get any rate cuts. I mean, we probably will be getting rate cuts, but I think the main question is 25 or 50 basis points, right? That's the main question. And how is the market going to react to it? Another main question, right? But one thing I want to say is the fact that sometimes, not always, but sometimes, the first move on FOMC is wrong, and the real move actually comes the day after, Thursday. Just keep that in mind. I have seen that happen actually like more times than I would expect. Let's just say that, like almost half the time, the real move is on Thursday. Just thought I'd mention that. But all that being said and done, let's jump into it. Tesla closing the, actually, before I do that, don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. Membership section on YouTube is live. $2.99 a month. You get access to all my intraday thoughts, post updates on Tesla, the broader market as a whole. I actually posted a Google one really quickly here. Where is it? Right here. Anyway, $3 a month, just literally $3 a month. Access to all that every single day. Constant posts daily. $5 a month. Access to all that plus NVIDIA. But jumping into it, Tesla closing the day, fortunately, rather, we can say 0.5% up, closing at just shy of $228 per share, which unfortunately is going to be back actually under $230 per share, even though we went well into that area this morning, right? We went as high as 234.5, so we got pretty damn close to breaking above 235, but unfortunately we just could not do it. The market definitely could not push up even higher as well. You can see here, we'll talk about QQQ as well this video, and yeah, I'll give you my thoughts moving forward. So the way I look at it is this, right? Again, and it's still pretty similar to what I've said before, but I'll just kind of reiterate everything with, you know, the additions, if you will. Right. For the most part, Tesla technically short term is bullish, right? I mean, you know, it is in a massive bear flag. I mean, I view this as a massive bear flag. It is definitely in that from my perspective. But it, you know, bear flags, while it's contained, is technically bullish short term, right? Because you're moving upwards. It's essentially a rising channel or rising wedge or whatever, right? It's rising, right? The price is rising. And while we're within it, well, expect the price to continue rising. It's just really that simple, right? But the thing is with these patterns, you know, more often than not every single time, they usually break out to the downside. Like I've said this before, and I'll do it really quickly, right? Usually plays out something like this as an example. And that's personally what I do expect to come out right now. The main question, of course, is the fact that, you know, does Tesla have one more rally upwards or not before it potentially begins to break to the downside? Again, option one is, well, we just break down to the downside. Option two is, well, we actually break out to the upside and break north out of this bear flag, which is, in my opinion, kind of rare, but absolutely a possibility. It's not zero, that's, you know, by any means. Or option three, which is my kind of, what I personally think is going to happen, is we actually move downwards tomorrow or Thursday. We come down to, for Tesla, closer to 220, 222, something like that, right? Closer to the 21 EMA, close to the bottom of this trend line. And we actually maybe even go slightly below it. Massive bear trap, rally up from here, break 235, make our way to the top of this bear flag once again, top of this rising wedge, whatever you want to call it, once again, you know, over the next week, two, something like that, which will pretty much bring it to about that mid to low 240s, get that gap fill that we have over here on the left, and then ultimately make our way down. That's my current like base projection. If I had to just, you know, pull out a pretend crystal ball and pretend like I know, I can look into the future, this is what I would personally foresee happening. Why? Because I personally believe that this move right here traps the most people. Massive bear trap into a continuation in the rally. Everyone thinks, okay, the market's good to go. No worries. The rate cuts are done. Hey, we're good to go, right? And then the market's just kind of, you know, makes its way up for the next week or two. And then we get a massive trap. So essentially a massive trap into a massive trap. That's just my current projection. Obviously, who the hell knows, right? We'll take it level by level as per usual. That's the easiest way to look at it, right? No one knows the future. But again, if I had to try and predict the future, that's what I would personally expect. Now, that's kind of the base case scenario, right? Main levels right now for Tesla, as usual, about 220. About 220 or about 240, 235 to see mid to low 240s or break 220. And at the very least, we'll see pretty much 207 to 200. But I genuinely believe if we lose this bear flag and we break down out of it, we'll come back down to at least the 170s. If not, worst case scenario, this overall green trend line that we have bounced twice so far over here, right? Obviously started all the way back here, but 2 times we have came down to it. And each time we've come down to it, it has been a substantial bounce, right? A very, very, very impressive bounce. Wouldn't be surprised if that happens again, I don't know, in a month or two, whatever, like something like that. But that's like the quote unquote worst case realistic scenario in my opinion, right? I don't think it'll go there, but that is a possibility. My base projection, honestly, if we lose this bear flag, is probably going to be about the 170s to 180s. That's where I would personally expect Tesla to move to over the next month or so. That's just kind of my general projection. Now, let's take a look at the indicators on the daily chart, right? I'll take a quick look at these indicators. So this is where I'm a little bit starting, again, just kind of like what I was saying yesterday, right? They're slowing down. Remember how I was saying the past few days, how the indicators on the Tesla daily are slowing down. They're kind of, easing up a little bit, right? They're, the bullish momentum is starting to get weaker, right? Because, we're just not getting that move up, right? And I've said this many times, like I want to see Tesla get that move up above 235 sooner than later, because, we're starting to slowly lose that momentum. It's starting to become softer, right? Now, granted, the MACD, obviously, MACD is a very slow indicator, so take it for what it's worth. It's still bullish, though. It is still bullish, but it is still continually making lower highs. Okay, right? RSI, neutral, honestly, maybe slightly bullish, actually. So RSI is actually arguably a little bit bullish, though. But this is where, we start getting into my personal favorite indicators. By far my favorite one, the stochastic. It's getting a little bit concerning here. Now it's still cross bullish. It's still technically fine, and it still has more room to the upside. So I definitely wouldn't say it's bearish, but it's starting to curl, and the green and the red are starting to play catch up to each other. And, it's starting to show signs that, hey, this may want to start crossing bearish. Now, until obviously it actually literally does cross bearish, there's no reason to be literally bearish. But again, we're looking and trying to kind of project a little bit further down. And, this is starting to show some signs that, hey, maybe we're looking to get a little bit bearish soon if we don't get that move up sooner. And this is why I keep saying I want to see Tesla get that move up sooner, because if it doesn't, this will cross bearish. This will cross bearish. And again, my trading style, I found a lot of success with the stochastic, especially on the daily chart. If this thing crosses bearish or bullish on the daily chart, especially from oversold or overbought territories, you can see before it happened here, kind of happened over here. It's pretty reliable, man. Now, obviously, no indicator is perfect, and just because it crosses bearish, it doesn't mean it is 100% bearish and it's 100% going to go down. But from my experience, the odds are probably in your favor that it will probably continue going, down or up, of course, relative to if it's a bearish or bullish cross, especially on the daily, especially in overbought or oversold territories. Just my experience. Nothing's perfect, but it's just, something to keep an eye on. Excuse me. BX Trender, lower highs. The bars are getting green, showing even further potential issues. The fact that, yeah, you know what? Maybe we're starting to lose some steam. So this is where I'm a little bit still concerned, right? Tesla, again, I want to make it clear. Still bullish, still within this, rising, wedge, bear flag, whatever. Still above the 21 EMA, still above the market bias. 5 and the 13 EMAs are still cross to the bullish. Like, things are still looking good. Like, there is still time and room for Tesla to make that run up to, mid to low 240s. That is still a very real possibility. But I want to see it happen sooner than later. Because again, if this takes too long and these indicators start crossing bearish, well, that's where I'll really start getting a little bit more concerned. But like I said, my base projection is a drop, I don't know, tomorrow or Thursday probably is my guess, back down to around these levels, 222, 221, something like that, give or take, around here. And then we rally from there back all the way up to here, and then we make our way back down. That's my current base projection. Whether or not that plays out, who the hell knows? But again, that's personally what I think will happen moving forward, mainly because, again, we haven't actually turned bearish just yet on the daily chart, right? There's still more work to be done for the bears to really turn this bearish, such as pretty much losing 220. But that's kind of my overall thoughts on Tesla moving forward, right? Let's take a very quick look in the 1 hour, see if we can spot anything interesting here. So taking a look at the 1 hour, I actually haven't looked at the 1 hour for quite some time. I've been sticking to the daily more often right now because I care more about the bigger move for now. But looking at the 1 hour, MACD, you can see bearish, right? Came across bearish all the way over here, came all the way down, went up to the green to the red, rejected, and went down even further. So we're seeing a bit of a divergence actually on the MACD, because as the price is going sideways, the MACD is actually going lower, right? Stochastic, bearish, BX Trender, bearish, red band starting to show up. So even the short term is not looking too hot, which is why, again, I'm not overwhelmingly bullish here, especially considering we keep getting rejected by 232, 235. Now, obviously, like I said yesterday, you can definitely, potentially take a look at this as a rising wedge, or a rising triangle rather, which obviously would look something like this, which we already mentioned before yesterday, but it would essentially look something like this, right? Which is a rising triangle, which is in theory a bullish pattern, which if this breaks, I think Tesla at the very least does see that 245 to get that top touch of that bear flag or wedge. So, there is that aspect to look at, but again, really, it really just ultimately comes down to, if you want to ignore as much noise as possible, lose the 21 EMA and lose 220, very bearish. Break above 235, very bullish to about mid to low 240s. And then from there, we will reevaluate. But options flow, surprisingly, not that crazy. I mean, you know, a lot of bullish flow in the morning, obviously when Tesla was pumping, but naturally as Tesla started fading, we started seeing bearish flow come in. We have 1.1 million, but it's a leap. It's a 2-year leap. I don't really care about leaps. I personally think leaps are irrelevant. 2 years from now, yeah, I'm sure it'll be higher than this. At least if it better be. To me, leaps are irrelevant. So I see a 1.1 million leap 2 years out. Nah, I don't really care. You know, that's just the way I look at it. But that's kind of what I'm seeing, and that's what I'm expecting. So yeah, let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.